Every NBA team is looking for future bigs, but how's the 2026 class going to look when it comes to the top centers in college basketball? We'll tell you next on Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings.
You are Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings, your daily podcast on the future stars of the NBA, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, boys and girls. My name is Tyler Rucker. Welcome to the Locked On NBA Draft podcast with No Ceilings. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. As I said, my name's Tyler Rucker. I'm joined by my good friend and the mad scientist in the draft world, Mr. Tyler Metcalf. Metcalf, how are we doing?
Rucker, I'm great. Football season's here. Basketball season's right around the corner. Manchester United is unfortunately losing to Manchester City as we're recording this, so I'm multitasking here, but living the dream.
That's great to hear. Hey, we got a fun episode today. We're going to talk about some NBA draft prospects, specifically the centers, the big man in the middle, and talk about some of the names to keep an eye on in that. Before we do that, we're going to get into the fun stuff that everyone likes to hear. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. If your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. That's FanDuel. Thank you. Shout out to those guys. All right, Metcalf, let's get into the fun stuff. Big man class. I think every year we're always trying to see what's the positions that we kind of want to look into when it comes to like, hey, if you're an NBA team and not necessarily drafting for need, but if you have a weak spot on your roster, what could be the position that teams are kind of going to look towards? Hey, this has a deeper amount of strength when it comes to that. We've done, if everyone hasn't seen, we've done episodes on every position when it comes to this draft class. We talked about the point guard, shooting guard, small forwards, power forwards. Now we're finishing it off with the big. So your first reaction, what are you thinking about this big man class as we get into almost less than 50 days till college basketball season?
Not super pumped about it, unfortunately. I'm just gonna rip the Band-Aid off there. I'm a little worried about this center class, but then I thought about the last couple years, and I feel like we've had those similar sentiments at this time of the year where it's like, oh man, there's like one guy, like one or two actual centers in my preseason top 30, and then inevitably someone always emerges. Like last year we had Danny Wolf really rise up the ranks, we had Thomas Sorber really skyrocket, we had Johan Berenger come out of nowhere. So there's going to be someone who emerges, but at first glance right now in mid-September it's like, oh, this might be an underwhelming center class.
Completely. I agree with you. I think it's one of those things where we always, if we think it's really strong going into the season, it flips after a couple things happen. And sometimes we're like, hey, it's weaker. And then we get a couple surprise performers that we're like, okay, maybe there's some more depth. So let's get into this right away, though, because I do think there's an interesting balance of returners, freshmen. If you've been following kind of our format lately, we start with the young guys, the new ones that everyone wants to talk about, the new shiny toys. Then we get into some of the returners that could buzz. So let's talk about freshmen. Let's talk about Chris Cenac. He's going to be one of the top bigs, I think, in this class. He's going to Houston. He's listed around 6'10", 6'11", depending on team websites, as we always say. 240. He was one of the top recruits by ESPN, 5-star recruit and by all major outlets. What are your thoughts about Cenac, and what do you think about his potential for this year?
And I think the potential is through the roof. It's more so the consistency and commitment to doing the little things that I worry about. When we saw him at Hoop Summit, it was like, oh, this dude rocks. He's fun, like good size, really good athlete, fun shot blocker, legit floor spacer. Like this is exactly what you want from your modern 4 or 5. And the fact that it's like, oh, and he chose Houston. So that tells you a little bit about his mentality where it's like, okay, so I have some concerns that the possession to possession, doing the little things, like when we talked about Cam Boozer and how he's mastered doing the little things. And there may not be a ton of flash and flair to his game, but it's just because he's constantly executing all of the little things that don't require him to do that stuff. I almost have the opposite impression of Cenac, where there is a lot of flash, there is a lot of flair, there is a lot, like the highlight is incredible, just the pure highlight tape. But then you watch everything in between the highlights, and it's like, you're a little more raw, a little more unpolished than I hoped for. But if a couple pieces fall into place and he really buys in to doing the little things, making the rotation, sliding his feet, staying committed to his defensive fundamentals, he could be really, really fun.
Do you think he's going to be, and I'm trying to, this is always one of the challenges with scouting, and you talk to evaluators, and I think they feel the same way about Cenac going into the season. But do you think he's going to be with Houston's roster, how deep they're going to be? They have, national championship aspirations this year. Do you think it's going to be one of those we're trying to look for the consistency in play, not just like the production this year? Like, I feel like if he could stay on the court, be a valuable piece, I think scouts are going to be more intrigued by the fact that with how much firepower that team has, how much depth, if he can keep himself on the court, maybe they're going to get more intrigued by the flashes. You know what I'm trying to say? Because there is so much upside with his game, but I echo what you say. The flashes get you in a dangerous world when you're excited, but it's the in between is like, okay, can we get that more consistently? So what do you think about his? Are we maybe not wanting the production to be as ridiculous this year? Are we being realistic about it?
Yeah, and like if he comes out and averages 18 and 9, that's gonna be awesome. Like no complaints there. But even if he's down around 9 and 6 or something,
Right.
but is like consistently getting 25 to 30 minutes a night, that's telling me that Coach Sampson is trusting him and that he's executing his assignments and his game plan and doing the things that he's supposed to be doing. Now, Sampson is kind of known for being a really tough coach to play for, and if Cenac is not doing that, then we're not going to see that minute share that high. I think he's also going to be in a really good spot where he doesn't have to overdo it, where he can kind of play within himself, play a specific role, and provide some floor spacing next to JoJo Tugler, who is one of the best shot blockers and rim protectors and defenders in the country. So I think he's going to be put in position to do the right things and to play his role and to execute. He just has to do it.
Absolutely. All right. Any last second thoughts before we move on? Because we got a couple of other freshmen I wanted to talk to you about when the big mans.
No, with Cenac, and he's one of these guys who could easily be a top 10 guy or one of the most intriguing returners for next year, depending on how this season goes. But the talent and upside is really, really fun.
It's scary because I agree with you, and we're starting to have that same narrative for a lot of these incoming freshmen. We're like, we're not sure yet if it's a one and done. So Houston going to be a wagon this year, and it's going to be interesting to see if Cenac can hit the ground running. Hans Steinbach, one of your guys, big man going to Washington, had an sensational FIBA showing. That quickly got everyone's attention in the basketball scouting and evaluating world. Now he's going to Washington. A lot of people are getting excited. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think he averaged 17, 13, and 1.3 blocks at the World Cup.
Yeah, and it almost feels low based on some of his box scores. He was insane at FIBA. Like it was just one of the most dominant performances there from anyone, Team USA included. The interior scoring, the passing, the rebounding on both ends of the floor, absolute force, and some occasional passing flash or shooting flashes, excuse me. Still more theoretical, but I think there's some long-term upside there.
Against Serbia, he had 23 and 19. He led all scorers in the gold medal game against Team USA. He had 19 in that game. It was, he was probably one of the talks of FIBA play, I feel like. I think everyone was talking about, oh my gosh, he's going to Washington. That was where you got, look at this kid. Oh, and he's going to Washington. You're getting excited now. But what do you need to see from him this year, Metcalf, for him to potentially be like, hey, this is a legit NBA prospect? Or do you think this is a guy that had a great FIBA play that now he's on the radars, but it might take a little bit of time to get ready for that NBA jump, like maybe a year or two?
Yeah, and just more of the same, please. Washington had to be pumped during that FIBA tournament because it's like, oh my, thank God this dude's already signed with us, and he can't back out now and go to a bigger program. Washington fans should be ecstatic. What I need to see from him, the consistency as that pure five, because he was playing a lot of the time alongside Eric Reeby, another freshman center going to UConn, who's more of a finesse floor spacing center, but still another 7-footer down there. So can Steinbach really control the paint on his own? Can he be a primary rim protector? And if he really holds up in that realm while still producing on the boards, while still finishing inside, showing some versatility out of the role, that kind of stuff, that's like, I think this dude could be a top 20 pick.
Completely agree. I think this is why every year we're always like, hey, we're heading into the regular season with college basketball to start a draft season with some names that we're getting excited about, but there's always going to be ones that pop out of nowhere and cement themselves as real prospects right away. We've seen Bub Carrington in the years before. We've seen guys like Keegan Murray, Jaden Ivey skyrocket up boards as returners. Now, even with this big man class, as we're talking about bigs today, like Steinbach's become a legit name that scouts are circling on radars of like, we need to keep an eye on him to start the year, because if that FIBA play wasn't any hoax, like this could be the start of something. FIBA isn't everything. It's just usually it's a nice little check-in point to see moving forward. This might be a name we need to watch. So I think he's going to be the top now with this big man class. Like he has the opportunity to take advantage and kind of jump up the ranks, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah, the skills are there. He isn't the most explosive athlete, but he's got really good footwork, light on his feet, moves well. And if the offensive versatility continues to get showcased, and we saw how comfortable and important Danny Sprinkle was with helping Osibor develop over the last couple of years. I know he didn't have a great year with Washington last year, but at Utah State before that, he really broke out and emerged. And I think Steinbach is an even more talented lump of clay that Coach Sprinkle can continue to mold into a really, really versatile player. So I think Steinbach is for sure the real deal. And the Big Ten is going to be a perfect setting for him to showcase whether or not he needs more time or if he's ready to go.
Absolutely. I got another one that I think everyone's trying to figure out how ready they are as a freshman. So Malachi Moreno, talented big man going to Kentucky. Me and you have both got the opportunity to see him in person. I think opinions vary whenever you ask around. They're all over the place. He's listed around 6'10". He was the 26th overall prospect in ESPN's top 100. McDonald's All-American. I think when you watch Moreno in person, you get intrigued by what this could be, one of those rim protecting bigs that has some defensive upside and a frame that could really promisingly come together. But what are your kind of thoughts about Moreno? What are your questions moving forward? Like what's your big picture thinking coming into this year?
Yeah, he's one of those more traditional, physically imposing, rim running, rim protecting centers, where the further away from the rim he gets, the less effective he gets, unfortunately. I was really underwhelmed with him during practices, but then once the games kicked off, it's like, oh, okay, a switch kind of flipped a little bit, and we saw that physicality, we saw that intensity come to the surface a little more aggressively. I'm really intrigued to see what this season holds for him, because he's a guy that I'm going into the season really with no expectations, where it's like, hey, if you look a step behind, it's like, all right, cool. Come back for another year. Develop. Take your time. If you look awesome, it's like, fantastic. Welcome to the party. Let's have some fun. Because the physical tools rock, the rebounding, the rim protection. I think there's some really incredible defensive upside with him. I'm just not sure how long it's going to take to really get there. And then the offensive end is just a really big question mark. So I'm not sure the ball skills are there. I'm not sure the shot is necessarily ever going to be there. But can he be a little more consistent as a rim runner, incorporate some passing and facilitating stuff to his game? But the big selling point with him is defense.
Yeah, I think he looks, you walk into the gym and at first glance, you're like, this is how I would want my center with upside to look like. He has that frame. He's got that, the length. I said he's 6'10". I think Kentucky's website's got him at 7 foot. So he's going to be well over 6'10"-ish. Like he was 6'10" in high school. So it's not one of those, we're trying to make a 6'9" guy 6'10" or taller with the team website rounding up. it's the toughness, it's the consistency, it's the strength I want to see like moving forward this year because when we saw him in person, he was practicing against Cam Boozer. Now everyone's going to roll their eyes when they hear this, but Cam Boozer was having his way, like with being really a dominant force in practice. And everyone's gonna be like, well, Boozer's been doing that to everyone. It's more of just, I want to see Moreno this year battle, be consistent, stay tough. Because I'm like you, he looks like a defensive minded big man with tools you're hoping to unlock. So, what I wanted to ask you, Metcalf, is this a big that could take advantage of being at Kentucky with that team, with that roster, playing next to Jaden Quaidance? Like, do you think he could really cement himself as a name in this big man class, despite us having questions about him? Or do you think there's a long way to go for Moreno to really be a one and done?
I think there's still quite a ways to go, but the combination of him and Quaintance on the interior, it's going to be a nightmare to rebound against against Kentucky. It's going to be a nightmare to score around the rim because of those two guys. So I think defensively, Kentucky could be a ton of fun, especially on the interior. It's just going to be how much of an impact and what type of influence is Moreno in that equation.
Completely agree. Okay, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about why the returners are generating a lot of excitement in this basketball scouting world. All right, we'll be right back. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for a kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. I'm a Vikings fan. It's NFL season. JJ McCarthy was great. I wish I had FanDuel to do a live bet with the comeback against the Bears. Not that I'm, overthinking it. But so are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, Metcalf, we're back. Let's talk about the returners in this class. I think there's always everyone's getting a little like, but wait, let's talk about the high upside freshmen. But I always think that when it comes to the big man class now, there's more excitement, there's more intrigue about these bigs being more NBA ready. I think this year we might not have the guys that are going to go top 5, but I think there's a lot of intriguing bigs in this class that could start to generate and become real names in the scouting world. I've got Henri, Veesaar, Pat Ngongba going to Duke, and Morez Johnson. I'm going to let you pick where we start off, sir, because I'm a nice guy.
I want to start with Henri Veesaar, headed to North Carolina. I know, shocker. I didn't go with the Michigan guy.
Very shocked.
Don't worry.
About you.
I would have considered Veesaar in the first round this last year.
I would have too.
I had a couple NBA scouts and execs echo that same sentiment. And they loved that he went to North Carolina and thought that was one of the biggest transfer gets in college basketball. I think he moves incredibly well. I think there's a lot of fun passing stuff with him. I buy the shot long term, only 32% on kind of low volume this last year. But I think long term, I think it's going to be a reasonable skill for him to, occasional pick and pop, trail 3 kind of stuff, nothing overly dynamic. But as a play finisher, someone who plays winning basketball, does the little things, rebounds, plays with an insane motor. I really, really like him as a sneaky first round guy to start the year. And then you think about him and Caleb Wilson as that 4-5 combination for North Carolina, and it's pretty fun.
He, when as a basketball fan, when you always have a guy on your team where you're like, you guys don't realize how good he is.
Yeah.
Like he's just one of those, like the fans of that team appreciate his game and his impact way more. That's what Veesaar is. I'm an Arizona Wildcats fan. I've watched him, and every time you watched him on the court, I was like, they need to play him more. He knows how to do so many good things on the court. I was shocked when he didn't seriously test the waters for the draft. I was shocked when Arizona couldn't keep him. And I wasn't surprised when he was like, no, I need to be a starter. Because like he deserves it. He's that good. I think it was one of the biggest gets. I completely agree. I think it was one of the biggest transfer gets. And for North Carolina to get him, going to have him along Caleb Wilson, those are two exciting pieces. I think Veesaar's got a lot of tools with his game that make him a very fascinating talent for the NBA level. So what are you wanting to see from him the most coming into this year? Because this is it for him. This is a very big year.
Yeah.
Like this is a coming out party. He's going to have all the opportunity in the world. So what do you want to see to make him a legit talent that could be in the first round this year?
Just if that floor spacing is legitimate, like little higher volume, little better percentages. He doesn't have to shoot 40% on 10 threes a game, but 2 to 3 attempts a game, up around 35%, that would be incredible. Because I think the rebounding, the defense, it is what it is, which is very, very good. And it's a bankable skill. And I think that those two alone kind of cement him as a solid, or at very least intriguing backup center at the next level. But if the play finishing versatility really takes another leap, if the offensive impact and involvement really takes another leap this year, then I think we're talking about a guy who could potentially start down the road.
Yeah, I agree. He's got so many interesting parts of his game, or like he can handle it a little bit. You don't want him to do it a lot. He could pass. The floor spacing, there's good touch. I think it's just with me, I want to see, do the minutes climb result in production climb? Or is it going to be one of those you're staying the same even though the minutes are way higher than they were at Arizona? I want to see the production come along with it. And I think the floor spacing would be great. It'd be awesome if he could sell himself as like, hey, I can be a pick and pop guy, but Veesaar's just too talented. I think he's going to be one scouts are liking more than maybe the public is early on. All right, pick the next spot. Where you want to go? We got Pat Ngongba going to Duke, or your boy Morez Johnson?
Let's go with Morez because he was insane during FIBA.
Talk to me about Morez. Like, tell everybody why Morez Johnson needs to be more adored and respected as a prospect this year, because you're very high on him.
Physical freak who plays like a psychopath. And I mean all of that as
compliment,
nothing but complimentary. His legs are the size of tree trunks. Moves really well, light on his feet, quick off the floor, explosive finisher, madman on rebounds, will go after and get any and everything he wants. Ton of defensive versatility, good defensive playmaker, but then also moves his feet well in space. And I buy the shot long term. I know we haven't seen it in live competition at all, but when I saw him in person during warmups, he was actually running through game speed type situations, running in transition, filling the lanes into the corner, pick and pop type stuff, trail 3 type stuff, all at game speed. So I know it's just warmups. Still obviously need to see it in a game. But it was stuff that he was working on and it looked good, which was shocking because I did not think that was going to be anything he would ever get close to. So even if we see him start to space the floor a little bit, I know with Michigan, all we've been talking about is, oh man, what could Dusty May do with the Axel Lindenberg based on what he did with Danny Wolf last year? And it's like, why aren't we having those same conversations with Morez Johnson? I don't think Morez is going to turn into a pseudo point guard. That's not what I'm talking about. But I think there's a major, major skill leap, and impact leap incoming for him, especially based on what we saw from him with Illinois last year, with Team USA this summer, and how that compares to what he showed in high school. It's been a lot of development really, really quickly.
And look, and you just hinted at it perfect for everyone that's not familiar. Morez Johnson was Illinois Mr. Basketball his senior year of high school. He was Illinois' Gatorade Player of the Year, #1 player in the state of Illinois coming out of high school. He was with Illinois last year. I feel like we always get fans that say we pronounce Illinois incorrectly. So sorry to those.
Settle down on we. No, it's now we, buddy.
Is it my or whatever?
Yeah, you're like 50-50 on whether or not you throw the S at the end. There's no S.
Illinois. All right. So he averaged 7 and 6.7 rebounds. Now I'm in my own head about it. Those are good numbers for a freshman big. Like those are fine. And now he transfers. He's going to Michigan. He has a sensational summer with Team USA. And now we're trying to see, hey, could this Could this echo into a really strong season? I think everyone's paying attention to Daimara going to Michigan. I think Morez is a bigger name that we need to keep an eye on because this is going to be a 6'9", 250 sophomore that is tough.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you. I think this is a big name to keep an eye on. Last name, Illinois. Shout out to those fans. I said it right. The last name I want to talk about is
Pat
Ngongba.
Yeah. Hurt again.
Is that official with the hurt?
I saw that he was in a boot.
Okay. So I've seen the boot talk for a while.
Yeah.
Now Pat he was backup last year at Duke to come on Malachi. Eventually they started playing Pat a lot because of the things he can do on the floor. This is a sophomore. Everyone's expecting to cement himself as a legit prospect this year now that Malachi is gone. But I thought Ngongba last year was one of the best talents in the big man position on that roster. He's a great passer. He's got good feel. I thought he really had moments last year where you're like, you have to keep him on the court. The health is everything, I think. Yeah. The health is preventing him from potentially having a great year and being maybe a lottery pick. So what are your thoughts, Metcalf? Like, what do you think about Pat going into this year?
Need the conditioning to be better and need the health to be better because another foot injury, which he had going back to high school too, not great. Really concerning stuff for a big man, but the defense is a lot of fun. I think the defensive hands and the defensive playmaking really caught me off guard last year, especially later in the season. Good rebounder, good scoring touch. Just has to get in better shape and stay healthy. And it's tough with foot injuries because there's not a whole lot you can do about it. And when you have them, you obviously can't. It makes life a lot harder to get in and stay in shape. So he's in a really tricky spot. Incredibly talented and interesting player. Just need him to be available.
He didn't play a ton last year, and it was because they were trying to get him healthy, I think, and also not rush things too fast. But when he did play, it was important minutes, and you clearly saw like, hey, there's a path here for a very realistic sophomore leap. But I think you're spot on. This is a health thing with Pat. I think you just want him to play more minutes and be healthy. I think John Shire has said, like, with the boot thing, they're just trying to not rush him back and be smart. And when he's back, they want him full go 100%. He's back. So we're going to wait and see. I don't think they've reported anything of like he's supposed to miss time. I think it's just one of those things he's taken care of in the offseason. And they're like, we're being very careful with this one. So we'll wait and see. Let's take one more quick break, and then we're going to have some other notable names you need to keep an eye on this year. This episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5 Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine of a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugar and 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big, taste, tiny shot. You can take it anywhere and you get that boost when you need it. Draft season. We're always trying to, keep the energy going. Late night film. What's better for me than a 5 Hour Energy? I get to stay up, watch, some Bennett Sturts film, some prospects that, are deep in the weeds of our good friends at Synergy. Enough with the boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5 Hour Energy shots. Give the favorites you love or be bold and try something new in store and online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon today. Okay, Metcalf, let's talk about some quick hitters. Give me some other names for big man prospects that are on your list to kind of watch out for this year.
Mentioned him in passing with Morez, but Daimara transferring from UCLA to Michigan, just a massive human being. Just how seriously is he going to take it? If he buys in, does the little things, and executes, per 40 numbers rock, they don't mean anything to me when the guy plays 4 minutes a game. So if he can actually get out there for 25 minutes a night, really skilled, really fun passer, some really exciting rim protection stuff, just has to be out there. Ngongba going back to San Diego State, really intriguing player. Tested the waters a little bit, just kind of dipped his toe in last year. But obviously had the late season injury. Owen Freeman transferring from Iowa to Creighton, really skilled, effective center. Flory Badunga, another just rim running freak athlete. Going back to Kansas, him and Darren Peterson could be a really fun pairing together, and complement each other, and at least provide a ton of athleticism to their rotation.
I'll throw in Tomislav Ivisic for the Illinois fans out there. I'm not saying it wrong. You guys are wrong. Fighting Illini. I'll just say it that way. Well, we said Thomas Haw in one of our 14 episodes about positions because he plays all over the place. Alex Condon, I'll throw out for Florida, is another one we need to keep a serious eye on. A lot of players on that Florida team are going to be good this year, folks. So I have a feeling. Just watch some Florida Gators basketball, and you'll find a name or two.
Terrace Reed and Eric Reeby going to UConn. Reeby more of a finesse, floor spacing center. He was on that German team at Nike Hoop Summit. Highly decorated high school player as well. Terrace Reed, more the bully ball, physical. A lot of people's kind of darling center pick entering the season. Zuby Ejiofor going back to St. John's, really good season last year, and very curious to see what another year with Pitino looks like. Nolan Winter headed back to Wisconsin, and Oscar Clough, big season for him, transferring from South Dakota State to Purdue. Purdue has title expectations. Clough could be a big reason for that. Really skilled offensive player, fun rebounder, and it's going to be a really good test to be like, all right, how real was last year?
All right, Metcalf, couldn't agree more. All right, well, that's going to do it for the big man episode. The last episode of our position previews, Metcalf. That means we're really creeping towards the beginning of the college basketball and draft season. So for myself, Tyler Rucker, and for the mad scientist, Tyler Metcalf, thanks for listening to Locked On NBA Draft with No Ceilings. We hope you guys have a good day, and please check out the feed this week. We're going to have plenty of more content about draft, basketball, college hoops, all of the fun stuff from the rest of our team at No Ceilings. Thanks, guys.